Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We have a lot of speakers today, and I will allow a maximum of 10 minutes per speaker so that we have a Q&A, which is meaningful. This is a very important session. Most of the people on this session, including myself, have been arrested under the terror laws of 2000 that were updated. So we are talking about a group of people who have this terrifying experience of not just being arrested, but mostly also the police breaking in very early in the morning for the great crime of writing in support of Palestine and against the genocide. I have to also add before starting that Britain is totally on its own in doing what it is doing. No other country in Europe has a similar legislation, neither the US, and interestingly, not even Israel. So Britain has done the most to silence its population and remove human rights from its citizenship, all by someone who was supposedly a human rights lawyer and now is a devoted and committed supporter of the crimes that Israel is committing in Gaza. We have 7 speakers, I think, and we will allow each of them 10 minutes, after which there will be a Q&A session. We ask that you put your question in the Q&A in a sentence or two, so the panelists can see it and select which questions they want to answer. We also ask that you name the panelist to which the question is directed. Please don't ask general questions, because to ask 7 panelists to answer a question will take 15 or 20 minutes. We haven't got that time. So a question should be focused, short, to the point, and to a panelist. And the first speaker is Sukiana Rajwani, who is the mother of Fatema Zainab from the Filton 24 group. And she's jailed, she is on remand for decommissioning Elbit factories. I understand more than one. And she is part of a very large group who are sitting and waiting for their trials as terrorists when they have not harmed a single person, nor did they mean to ever harm a single person. Sukiana, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I am Sukiana Rajwani, and I am massively grateful to be here with you today and for the opportunity to share my daughter Fatema Zainab's story with all of you. Thank you so much, Tony, and to the organizers of the webinar for inviting me today. So over a year ago, on the 6th of August, 2024, one day after her 20th birthday, my daughter Fatema Zainab was arrested on site at Elbit Filton, an Israeli arms manufacturer in Bristol, along with 5 other activists. They are accused of causing over £1 million worth of damage to weaponry, including damaging killer quadcopter drones. These drones are part of the weapons used in the genocide in Gaza, and these drones mimic the sounds of children in distress in order to draw civilians out to help, who are then shot at. My daughter Fatema Zainab has been in prison for over a year now without trial. 4 other individuals were rounded up from across the country in the following days by counter-terror police, some at gunpoint with their homes raided. All 10 were held in isolation without charge under the Terrorism Act for a week, after which they were then charged with criminal offenses that do not fall under the Terrorism Act. However, counter-terror police continue to lead the investigation, and the prosecution alleged that there is a terror connection linked to their case. In November 2024, last year, and more recently, just last month, a further 14 individuals were arrested by counter-terror police, some in violent nighttime raids by up to 30 officers in connection with the same case, making the original Filton now the Filton 24. All 24 have been imprisoned and on remand since their arrests, despite meeting all legal conditions for bail and having no incentive to skip. Fatema Zainab's bail has been rejected twice so far on the grounds that she is too committed to the Palestinian cause and will reoffend if granted bail. She has been in prison for daring to dissent against a genocidal arms trade without trial for 13 months now, when the legal custody time limit for prisoners on remand is 6 months. It makes you wonder about Britain's claims to freedom of speech and democracy and the right to protest, when we see, especially now presently, hundreds of people arrested under counter-terror powers for opposing an ongoing live-stream genocide. Unfortunately, today, I cannot speak of how proud I am of my daughter for standing up for what's right and what's just, as I would then be at risk of supporting a proscribed organization, Palestine Action, with whom she took direct action with, and then face up to 14 years of jail time. But then I can tell you how proud I am of Fatema Zainab as a person. Fatema Zainab has a very compassionate soul, and one of her most defining characteristics is her passion for social justice. When the genocide started in October 2023, Fatema Zainab was at the time in her second year of media studies at Goldsmiths University. Fatema Zainab refused to remain silent. She refused to be complicit in the ongoing genocide in Gaza. She refused to look away. She participated in protests and marches week after week, as well as her university encampments for 10 months. Yet the government continued to arm Israel in the midst of an ongoing genocide. I believe it was then that she realized that peacefully protesting alone wasn't enough and that only direct action could make any difference. She has put everything on the line to stand with the oppressed. She would have been graduating this summer, actually next week, had she not been in prison with her studies. So we asked the question, why Elbit Systems? Elbit Systems UK is part of the multinational arms company, Elbit Systems Limited, headquartered in Haifa, occupied Palestine. It is Israel's largest weapons manufacturer, profiting from and enabling the Zionists' military regime, occupation, apartheid, and genocide of Palestine, supplying the Israeli military with 85% of their drones and land-based equipment and more. Their weaponry is often marketed as battle-tested, boasting how they use Palestinians as test subjects. Investigations by Declassified UK have shown us that Elbit facility in Filton, where Fatema Zainab was arrested at, was shipping arms to Israel during the ongoing genocide, in contravention of a UN arms embargo on Israel. They were, with the complicity of the British government, breaking international law. Fatema Zainab and the other Filton 24, with their alleged action, were upholding international law. In a letter to the UK, the United Nations has also condemned the unjust use of UK counter-terror laws against the Filton 24. The treatment of the Filton 24 is clearly intended to intimidate the public and to protect the Israeli arms trade in the UK. According to a recent investigation by Declassified UK, this crackdown on activists comes after a series of disturbing meetings between the UK Home Office, the police, Elbit Systems, and Crown Prosecution Service. It seems that the UK government has a personal interest invested in Elbit Systems, as they benefit from the arms trade and murder of innocent lives financially, as well as to push imperialistic policies across the globe. Britain has legitimized Israel's colonization project through the Balfour Declaration, and it continues to legitimize it through providing arms to Israel throughout the genocide. We have all heard of the British Ministry of Defence's plans to award a 15-year contract worth £2.5 billion to Elbit Systems in order to train the UK military. Is this what we really want? A genocidal arms company training our soldiers on our soil? On that note, we do have a campaign running to report Elbit Systems UK to the police for war crimes and for crimes against humanity. Please do support us in this campaign. I will add the necessary links in the chat after I finish speaking. So Fatema Zainab's trial is just around the corner. The Filton 24 trials have been divided across 4 trial groups over more than a year. The first group to go to trial includes my daughter Fatema Zainab, the original 6 that were arrested on site at Elbit. Their trial will be held at Woolwich Crown Court to start on 17th of November, and it is listed for up to 8 weeks. Please do support the Filton 24 in their upcoming trials by raising awareness and by mobilizing outside the court. Because, let me be clear, this is not just about the 24 activists that have been arrested. This is about everyone's freedom in the UK as we continue to slip into a police state. This is about the world we must stop sleepwalking into, normalizing mass slaughter, starvation, and suffering. We must stand together and fight together, for this is a fight we must win, from Britain to Palestine. Realize that you're not safe if you remain quiet. They're coming for us regardless. I would like to end with a quote from Audre Lorde's book called "Your Silence Will Not Protect You." Because the machine will try to grind you into dust anyway, whether or not we speak. We can sit in our corners, mute forever, while our sisters and ourselves are wasted, while our children are distorted and destroyed, while our earth is poisoned. We can sit in our safe corners, mute as bottles, and we will still be no less afraid. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, Sukiana, for this incredible presentation. I hope that you can give your courageous daughter there are 200 people now listening to you, and by extension listening to your daughter and what she and the other Filton people have done. We are all extremely proud of them and proud of you and your support for Fatema Zainab. Thank you very much.